Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Bhandary and today I've got Anurag Nair with me. Anurag is a student of mine from the 2014 batch Mechanical Engineering and he has got into Merchant Navy. So, hello Anurag, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing good and I'm so happy that he's here and today he's going to share a few things about the Merchant Navy. How how you can crack the Merchant Navy and get into it and how is life over there. So, Anurag, tell us how was it? How difficult was the exam to get into Merchant Navy?
Yeah, the exam isn't that difficult. The written part definitely is not difficult because we go through a vast syllabus ourselves during engineering,
Huh.
and that should be enough for you to crack your exam.
All right.
The issue is with the interview.
All right.
When people go there and they know the basic stuff, but they're not able to portray it to the person who's interviewing them. And
No, but before that, even in the written, there is a psychometric, right?
yeah, that comes after the written exams, and it's during the medicals actually.
Okay.
So they have a very basic psychometric during your written exams, which doesn't actually tell them a lot about you. But during the medicals, they have a psychometric.
All right.
So they check every aspect before they take you
All
in.
right. So, but is there a technical also aspect to the written test?
Yeah. So it's more of a, it's not that logic based as it would be for a company like an IT company. But it's basically a technical test that they have where they try to check your basics, like how much you've learned from your second year when you enter your branch to you leave in the fourth
So,
year.
any important topic that they cover, or is it an overall?
It's majorly a lot of mechanics and thermodynamics because this is what we use majorly on ship.
Yes.
But there's one particular subject that is refrigeration and AC that we let go of during our engineering that most of us find difficult. But that is, I think, one thing that all of us lack in. Like we all get in, and until we reach the top, the chief engineer's level, we really don't understand what is happening. But if we start off now, it would be much easier for us to learn.
Right. So once you clear the aptitude, you have the interview, and the interview is the toughest part.
Yeah.
So what are they think? What are they asking you during the interview?
Initially, they try to rattle you and put you under pressure because that's what the whole job is about. Like any job, for that matter of fact, where you need to deal with a lot of pressure because they really want to see how you will decide to do a certain job or what way you decide to do a certain job under pressure, because I think that's what's important at the end of the day.
Yes.
So they try to rattle you with basic questions at a fast pace.
All right.
Which you fumble at, and it's okay to fumble. They don't mind you fumbling, but you need to at least know some stuff because they don't expect you to know everything when you enter, and then they condition you through the course.
Okay. So, but what are the subjects that a student has to concentrate for the interview?
Like I said, thermodynamics, mechanics, and refrigeration and AC should be the most important subjects that they do, and a little bit of basic electrical knowledge, I think, which we all study in physics in the first semester, second semester. So,
would you tell us what could be a question like from their end?
They could basically ask you, like, from a mechanical engineering standpoint, they could basically ask you how two-stroke timing diagram or a four-stroke valve timing diagram or a diesel cycle, because most of the engines on ships are diesel engines. But usually, since we live in a very petrol generic world, we don't think about diesel that much.
Yeah.
But when you go there, it just flips your mind that they're asking you about diesel. So
all right.
So it's actually just basics. Whatever you studied in your first, second year, those introductory subjects, and then your second year subjects that are getting you into the branch. They don't go into the deep subjects that comes in the third and fourth year.
All right. So first and second year, in depth about engines,
thermodynamics, ref and AC, mechanics, and a little bit of electrical.
All right. Because even though Anurag, you're telling it's basic, we see at least around 200 students writing and hardly around 10 to 15 eventually qualify for this. So it's not as easy as people think, because if they don't do an in-depth preparation, the chance of clearing would not be high.
I think it's majorly how you talk to the interviewer, because I was a pretty average student myself. Like I scored around 60, 65 at that point of time, which was okay. It was not a very great score, and it wasn't a bad score either. So I was pretty average. And if I could crack the interview, I think a lot of people should be able to.
No, but I think your fundamentals must have been strong, because I see a lot of students who don't clear. But if you do this, it should be good, right?
Yeah.
And then how long is the training over there, and what is the fees for the training?
So the training is divided in two parts. That is 8 months in the academy in Karja and 4 months on board, where you go as an intern or a trainee or whatever you call it, and you go there and you work with the ship's crew and you try to understand everything in practical, whatever you learnt in theory over 4 years plus those 8 months, because those 8 months is just a concise version of 4 years that you studied.
Okay.
So it's more like a refresher.
Uh-huh.
And they just take out the important parts from engineering which is related to marine engineering.
Okay.
So that's what they do.
Alright.
And the fee structure at the point of time that I joined, it was around somewhere around 4,60,000 for those 12 months. And right now I think it's somewhere around 5.5 lakhs. I'm not really sure about
I
the
think
fee
it's around
structure.
that. Five and a half. That's about it. And you get a loan also from the banks in case you
like
apply.
I took a student loan to pay off my fees, but you don't need to worry about paying it off because you earn pretty well, so you can go and pay it off later.
So you've joined Anglo Eastern, and that's supposed to be one of the reputed companies because they have their own ships. So it's very important that a student joins a organization which has its own ships. Otherwise, it will just end up like a training, like you've done your engineering and then you have to search for a job yourself, which will be very, very difficult.
So it's basically called sponsorship in shipping terms, where you finish your training and then you need to get sponsored by a company to come on their vessel and get a training berth, which is very, very difficult right now in the current scenario. But there are people who end up paying 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs to agents just to get on a ship, and then there are issues with the paperwork which they don't let you give your certification exams and all that. So I would really, really suggest you get into a company which sponsors you, and I think the best company that sponsors you right now is Anglo Eastern. I wouldn't want to sound very biased, but it's actually the truth because they have been named as the best manning company in Asia, and I think it's the biggest fleet for a manning company that anyone has right now. One of the biggest at least.
Alright. So could you tell, Anurag, how is it? I mean, people think only about the glamour part and the travel and the sailing and all that. So how is life there actually on the ship?
So it is probably like any other job that you would do, but the only thing is, like, if you work in a city like Bangalore, you're not going to come back every day or every other day, right? So you're going to be away from home for 6 months. You're going to come back.
I mean, just to crash, but you're going to come back.
But you're going to come back, but
and only sleep.
So might as well come back for 6 months and sleep for a longer time.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of coming back for the weekend and then heading back to Bangalore. So that is one good point about the job. Like, you work for 6 months.
No, you get 6 months leave. So that is I mean, amazing. Isn't
so
it?
You work for 6 months and then you're sorted for the next 6 months to do whatever you want. And when it comes to work, it is tough, but I think every job in the world is tough. Like a teacher to a watchman also, everyone's job is tough.
And being unemployed is the toughest. When does a typical day for you would be?
Typical day for me would be about, I wouldn't want to let out the hours because it's very uncertain, but probably I would start working at 6 in the morning and then take a break at 12 for lunch, and then come back at 1 and then work till 6 in the evening, and then I would be off. And there are systems that are called watches. So we do 3 engineers do watches amongst themselves. And it works the same way for the deck side, but I don't think that's important for us to know because we're going to be working as engineers on board. So we have night duties as well, where if there's any abnormality in the engine room, we get an alarm and you accept the alarm and you go down.
All right. So what's the best thing about working in the merchant navy, and what's the worst thing?
The worst thing is that I would start off with the worst thing where you need to stay away from your family for 6 months, but like I said, if you're working in any other city, you would still be away from your family. And the best thing is there's dignity of labor. Like, however dirty your hands get, your money is still clean. And you have all your money is your own hard-earned money, and you can spend it however you want. Plus, it's a non-taxable income. So
absolutely,
So that's probably the best part about it.
So when does a student actually, once you join the ship, when does the money start coming? Because the training is there and then you are there on the ship. So how much time does it take?
If you end up taking an education loan, I would say probably the first sale will be at least you repaying your loan off. The second sale would be you earning a little bit of experience and a little bit of money, which you'll blow out for your exams. But after the exams is when your money actually starts coming in. as long as you don't have any liabilities.
Yes.
But I think after your third sail is when you should be good.
So third sail would be how many years from your engineering?
Depending on how long a break you take.
Yeah. But typically for anyone.
After your engineering, probably in a year and a half, you should finish your course and you should be on board.
Oh, that's pretty decent.
Yeah. It depends on how the market is at that point of time.
Right.
So between a year and a half to two should be when you should be on board for your first ship.
All right.
And then it should just pick up slowly.
So how much does the average person make on the ship, an engineer? You start off as the
you start off as a junior engineer.
Junior engineer, and say maybe 3 years or 4 years down the line. What is the typical package?
When you start off as a junior engineer, you get paid somewhere between $400 to $500 a month, which is also a good amount considering Indian engineers are not getting any money right now when working. And probably 3 or 4 years down the line, you should be either a fourth engineer or a third engineer if you go at your own pace. But if you want to go faster, maybe you could rise higher in the ranks.
All right.
But like if you get to the fourth engineer rank, you probably earn somewhere around $2,000 to $2,500 a month.
So make it in per year for me in rupees.
Per year, I would have to put in rupees. Then I would have to actually calculate it out because I could give you a dollar figure.
Yeah.
So 2,000 into 6 would be somewhere around $12,000 a year.
All right.
And as you rise up,
and every year it could be an increase of.
Like from the fourth engineer to the third engineer rank, it's not much of a difference. It's about $1,000 difference per month. So that's like another $12,000. But when you get into the second engineer rank is when you actually start raking in some money.
Okay.
But the work gets a little harder.
That's always there, so that's okay.
So at that point of time, you earn somewhere around $6,000 a month. So multiply it by 12, it gets you, not 12, 6 months in a year.
Yeah.
So $36,000 a month should be what.
So basically, if you want to be a chief engineer, it will take you around 10 years, 10 to 11.
Depending on your exam, it should take you anywhere between 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years. And that's when the money really starts coming.
Yeah.
And as you go, and there's no retirement.
Yeah.
Isn't it? As long as you're healthy, you can still continue in the ship. Yeah. And if you want to sail for longer, say if you don't want to sail only for 6 months and you want it for 7 months or 8 months, is it possible?
There are a certain regulations that are in place that they don't let you sail for that long because it's not good for your health to be working that strenuously through the year. So usually they phase you out in 6 or maximum 7 months.
All right.
They don't let you work longer, and they send you back home so you can get some rest and your body gets to rest, and then you go back and work because it is physical work.
All right.
Yeah. So they
but it is a core job. So
it is a core mechanical
job. And so girls, you see girls also, or are they very less or not there at all?
There are, first of all, maybe start off with mechanical engineering itself. There are very few girls. There is, I think, I had one girl amongst the class of 140.
Yes.
So if you take out all these girls, I think barely few would be going into the merchant navy. But I think it's a safe opportunity for them because there are a lot of girls on the deck side. But engine side is when the girls would also have to get their hands dirty. And this is one job I like because it's a total feminist job where if you don't work, you don't earn.
All right.
So you have to work and earn your own money. And the respect is the same. Doesn't matter as long as you do your work.
All right. So any tips for aspiring students who want to join merchant navy?
I would just say that don't look at a long-term thing and try and get in first because as you're saying, they're not cracking the interview.
No, mechanical is very tough to crack, and believe me, if you can get this is better than any IT company in terms of pay and everything. And in terms of holidays also. Who is giving you 6 months?
6 months. That's probably the biggest perk that you can get. So that would be the biggest carrot that we could dangle for them. But
and the money. I mean, both. You get your money and you get time to actually burn your money.
Yeah, you get to save a lot of money also because your family is what you earn for, right? So if you can buy your mom the sari that she wants whenever you want it, that's probably the best thing that you could do. Or buy your dad a pen or a car or whatever you want. So I think that's what life is all about.
Yeah. So when should they start planning, and what should they start focusing on? Any tips for them?
So when I think Anglo-Eastern was coming in my 4th year.
Yes.
I started prepping from the end of the 3rd year. Prepping as in I had not done anything special. I started reading up on the basics a little bit, and even though I didn't understand a lot of the high level mechanical stuff, but I tried to get my basics fine, which I think all of us should do in life, because
so getting your fundamentals in place, that's the most
important.
All right. And for the interview, at least in Bangalore, we are in Bangalore, so you'll have to go to either Mumbai or Delhi, depending on your place for interviews. Okay. So I think that's about it. So thank you, Anurag, very much.
Thank you so much.
And I hope, and I hope this was helpful. Till we meet again, it's bye from both of us.